Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll allegedly responsible for 2 near-death experiences and 1 fatal accident. According to paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, the doll acts as a conduit for a demonic spirit. The story began in the 1970s when a nursing student reported the doll was moving around her apartment on its own, leaving handwritten notes and attacking her friend. The Warrens concluded a malicious spirit was using the doll as a vessel, pretending to be the ghost of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins. Today, it sits inside a glass box at the Warrens Occult Museum in Connecticut, with the sign that explicitly warns visitors, "Positively do not open." Museum staff claim that visitors who mock the doll often experience car trouble or accidents on their way home. One man who tapped on the glass reportedly died in a motorcycle crash just hours later. The Hope Diamond is a massive 45-carat blue diamond that supposedly brings tragedy to anyone who owns or wears it. Legend says it was stolen from the eye of a sculpted idol of the Hindu goddess Sita in India. From that moment, it carried a curse that would doom its owners. King Louis XIV bought the stone, and years later, he and his descendants met violent ends during the French Revolution, including Marie Antoinette, who was beheaded. In the early 1900s, American socialite Evelyn Walsh McLean owned it. And during that time, her young son was killed by a car, her daughter died of an overdose, and her husband died in a mental institution. The diamond now sits safely in the Smithsonian Museum, but the number of tragic deaths connected to this single stone is impossible to ignore. The Dybbuk box is a wine cabinet said to contain a malicious spirit from Jewish folklore. It gained fame when a listing appeared on eBay in 2003, where the seller claimed it caused him to cough up blood and smell jasmine flowers that weren't there. He tried giving it to his mother as a gift, and she suffered a stroke the same day. Subsequent owners reported light bulbs exploding, insect infestations, and recurring nightmares of an old hag beating them. Every person who touched the box experienced similar horrors. The box eventually inspired a horror movie and remains one of the most documented cursed objects in modern times, with its current owner keeping it sealed and hidden from public access. The Crying Boy is a mass-produced print of a painting by Giovanni Bragolin. In the 1980s, British firefighters reported finding this specific painting untouched in the ashes of multiple house fires that had destroyed everything else. Furniture would be ash, walls collapsed, but the Crying Boy print would be sitting there without a single scorch mark. The tabloid The Sun claimed the painting was cursed, leading to mass bonfires where people burned thousands of copies in the street. Some claimed the painting showed an orphan whose parents died in a fire, and the boy himself grew up to become a pyromaniac before dying in a blaze. The fear was real enough that the painting became impossible to sell. Robert, the doll, was a straw-filled doll once owned by Robert Eugene Otto in Key West, Florida. Servants claimed the doll could speak and move on its own. As an adult, Otto blamed the doll for his misfortunes, often saying, "Robert did it." Today, the doll sits at the Fort East Martello Museum. Visitors must ask the doll's permission before taking a photo. Those who don't reportedly receive bad luck, often writing apology letters to the doll later. The museum has an entire wall dedicated to these apology letters from people begging Robert for forgiveness after mocking him or breaking the rules. The Bassano vase is a silver Italian vase from the 15th century. It was reportedly a wedding gift for a bride who died on her wedding night clutching it. It was rediscovered in 1988 with a note that read, "Beware, this vase brings death." Every subsequent owner died shortly after purchasing it. A pharmacist bought it and died within 3 months. A surgeon bought it next and lasted only 2 months. An archaeologist purchased it and died almost immediately. After the string of deaths became undeniable, the Italian police seized the vase and buried it in an undisclosed location. To this day, the exact burial site remains a secret. The Hands Resist Him is a painting by Bill Stoneham, often called the eBay haunted painting. It features a boy and a creepy doll standing in front of a glass door with hands pressing against it. The original gallery owner and the art critic who first reviewed it both died within a year of seeing it. The painting ended up on eBay in 2000, where the sellers claimed the characters moved at night and even stepped out of the canvas. They said their daughter refused to go near it and that they'd captured the movement on camera. The listing went viral and sold for over $1,000. Critics suggest the curse was a marketing stunt, but the timing of those early deaths remains an eerie coincidence. Little Bastard was the nickname of James Dean's Porsche 550 Spider. Actor Alec Guinness warned Dean that if he got into the car, he would be dead within a week. Dean died in a crash 7 days later. After the crash, the car fell on a mechanic and crushed his legs. The engine was sold to a doctor who died in a car crash while using it. The tires were sold to another man, and they blew out simultaneously, causing him to crash. Even the trailer carrying the wreckage was involved in accidents. Eventually, the car was being transported for a highway safety exhibit when it mysteriously vanished from the trailer and has never been seen again. The Busby Stoop Chair is an oak chair that belonged to Thomas Busby, a murderer executed in 1702. Before his hanging, he cursed anyone who would sit in his favorite chair. Over the centuries, locals claim that soldiers and airmen who sat in the chair never returned from war. Deaths became so numerous that in 1978, the pub owner donated it to the Thirsk Museum, where it is hung from the ceiling so that no one can accidentally sit in it. Museum curators refuse to take it down, insisting the curse is too dangerous to risk. The Tutankhamun trumpets are a pair of trumpets found in the burial chamber of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. They have been played only 3 times in modern history. The first time was in 1939, shortly before the outbreak of World War II. The second time was in 1967, just before the Six-Day War. The third time was in 2011, 1 week before the Egyptian Revolution. Egyptian authorities now consider them summoning objects for war and conflict. They are kept under strict lock and key to prevent anyone from playing them again. The Ring of Senicianus is a Roman gold ring found in England that bears the inscription, Senicianus, live well in God. A matching cursed tablet was found nearby, asking the god Nodens to return the stolen ring and curse the thief with ill health. What makes this ring fascinating is that scholars believe it directly inspired J.R.R. Tolkien when he was writing The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Tolkien was working at Oxford when details about the ring and cursed tablet were published, and the similarities between this real cursed ring and the fictional One Ring are striking. Otzi the Iceman is a naturally preserved mummy of a man who lived around 3300 BC, found in the Alps in 1991. Since his discovery, 7 people linked to the recovery and analysis of the body have died premature deaths. The hiker who found him fell off a cliff. The mountain guide who led the recovery team died the same way. The journalist who filmed it died of a brain tumor. The archaeologist who examined the body died in a car accident on his way to give a lecture about Otzi. The head of the research team died from complications of multiple sclerosis, diagnosed shortly after handling the mummy. Some dismiss these as coincidences, but others believe Otzi's spirit is taking revenge. The Koh-i-Noor diamond is one of the largest cut diamonds in the world, currently part of the British crown jewels. The curse states that he who owns this diamond will own the world, but will also know all its misfortunes. Only God or a woman can wear it with impunity. Historically, male rulers who owned it lost their thrones or died violently. Queen Victoria wore it without incident and lived a long life. Since then, it has only been worn by female members of the royal family. Even today, the diamond is set in the Queen Mother's crown and has never been worn by a king. The Delhi purple sapphire is not actually a sapphire, but an amethyst. It was stolen from the Temple of Indra in India in 1857. The curator who received it, Edward Heron Allen, claimed it brought him nothing but bad luck. He tried to give it away, but it was returned. He threw it into a canal, but it was dredged up and returned. He eventually locked it in 7 boxes in a bank vault with a warning not to open it until 3 years after his death. Today, the amethyst is kept at the Natural History Museum in London, where it remains one of the most documented cursed gemstones. The Anguished Man is an oil painting created by an unknown artist who allegedly mixed his own blood into the paint before committing suicide. The current owner, Sean Robinson, claims that when the painting is displayed, strange noises are heard, doors slam shut, and a dark shadow figure appears in the peripheral vision of his family. Robinson has posted videos online showing alleged paranormal activity around the painting. He currently keeps the painting locked in his basement and only brings it out for controlled experiments. The Myrtles Plantation Mirror is located in one of America's most haunted homes. This mirror supposedly holds the trapped spirits of Sarah Woodruff and her children, who were poisoned. Visitors report seeing handprints appear on the glass from the inside, as well as strange drip marks that cannot be cleaned away. Legend says that if a mirror is not covered when someone dies, their soul becomes trapped within it. The mirror remains on display at the plantation, which offers tours for those brave enough to face it. This phone number was a Bulgarian mobile number that was suspended in 2010. The first owner, the CEO of the phone company, died of cancer at 48. The second owner, a mafia boss, was assassinated in the Netherlands. The third owner, a real estate agent running a cocaine smuggling ring, was gunned down outside a restaurant. After 3 consecutive owners died under suspicious circumstances, the phone company permanently deactivated the number. It will never be reassigned to another customer. The Black Orlov diamond, also known as the Eye of Brahma, is a black diamond that was allegedly stolen from a Hindu idol. In 1932, a diamond dealer named J.W. Paris jumped from a skyscraper in New York City shortly after bringing the diamond to the U.S. Later, 2 Russian princesses who owned the diamond separately both jumped to their deaths in Rome in 1947. The deaths were so consistent that a jeweler recut the Black Orlov into 3 separate stones in an attempt to break the curse. Since then, there have been no reported deaths, suggesting the curse was broken or diluted. The Elmo doll is a modern cursed object. In 2008, a family purchased a Tickle Me Elmo doll that knew the child's name. However, after changing the batteries, the doll began adding a new phrase. Instead of saying Mama, it would say Kill James, which was the name of the family's son. The doll would repeat the phrase Kill James over and over until the family removed it from the house. Toy experts suggested that it might be a defect, but the family insists the doll's behavior was genuinely threatening. The unlucky mummy is actually a painted wooden coffin lid, not a mummy, currently in the British Museum. In the early 1900s, rumors spread that the artifact caused the death of anyone who handled it. The most famous myth associated with it is that it was aboard the Titanic and caused the ship to sink, though records show the artifact never left the museum. However, museum staff have reported hearing banging noises coming from the artifact that night. Several people involved in its transportation and display have reported accidents and misfortunes. So there you have it, history's some of the most infamous cursed objects. Whether these curses are real or just tragic coincidences, the stories remain compelling. These objects have left trails of death, misfortune, and fear wherever they've gone. If you like this video, subscribe for similar ones.